Hi, I've got something you'll be interested in. Those performance upgrades we discussed after the last race. They're on the car and the data looks promising. Take a look at the details.
What is up, people, and welcome back to my F1 2017 career mode here for the Belgian Grand Prix, round 12 of this first season. And if you are new around here, don't forget to first of all hit that subscribe button. Also, you can go catch up with the card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens. You will find up there the whole entire playlist and also the previous episode at the Hungarian Grand Prix, which is an absolutely phenomenal race there at the Hungarian Grand Prix, so definitely go check that out. But we have upgraded the chassis coming into today's Belgian Grand Prix, and that's actually going to be our final upgrade of the season. I've decided not to do any more upgrades over the course of the season. We're in a pretty good position in the drivers and constructors standings, but at the moment we are just going to build up our resource points so we can spend so many resource points at the start of season 2. So that we can get some really good upgrades, because at the moment we're just affording one upgrade at a time, and they're not exactly the best ones. Whereas if I save them up over the course of the season, I can get some really good upgrades at the end of the day. But getting some more resource points right now at the Belgian Grand Prix, going into the track climatization there and getting the purple score, 50 points into the bank, and that's going to really help us when we start to upgrade the car at the start of next year. But now doing the tyre wear management, also a purple score and smashing the target time as well. Looking really good at the moment for this Belgian Grand Prix, so hopefully we can carry that on across the rest of the season. I don't know whether you saw it at the start of the episode, but we've actually got new parts of every single component of the engine, which means we will be taking a huge old hefty penalty for today's race. We're going to be starting right at the back of the field no matter what happens, as we get a purple score there for the fuel management as well, and P19 at the end of the day in a practice 1 session. But I knew at the end of the day I was going to have to take the penalties as well, but at a circuit where there were definitely chances to overtake this Belgian Grand Prix, and also at Italy, we thought one of these two circuits is probably the best one to take the penalty, but I feel like I'm going to be really quick at Italy, so I thought the best one to do it would be at the Belgian Grand Prix, so I have a fresh engine pretty much for Italy, and we can really push on that one. But getting purple score once again in the qualifying run, and now doing the race strategy, and we get a purple score in that one as well. So lots of resource points at the end of the day, and they're really going to help me out when it comes to upgrading the car at the start of next season. But that is it for the practice sessions. All of the targets beaten and a lot of resource points gained by myself. Unfortunately, it was only down in P15 after the qualifying run, so not maybe the best lap times, but with a brand new engine in the back of the car for the qualifying session, hopefully we can still put in a decent lap, even though we're not really going to be pushing too hard because we're going to be starting at the back of the field anyway. But that is it for the practice sessions. Let's see what we can do in qualifying.
It's qualifying time at Spa, one of the mightiest tracks on the Formula One calendar. Long straights, up and downhill, Eau Rouge as well. This track isn't for the faint-hearted.
So here we are in the qualifying sessions for today's Belgian Grand Prix, and like I said earlier, taking a huge old amount of penalties going into today's race. So we're deciding just to do a couple of laps on the super soft tyres. Qualifying isn't going to mean anything to us at the end of the day, so we're just going to see what we can do on this set of super soft tyres and see whereabouts that we do rank. So at the moment we're currently in P10. We have improved though on this lap by about 5/10 of a second as we come across the line now for our second lap in qualifying. We're better than our teammate on the super soft tyres. Of course, we are setting our lap time very early on in today's session, so we'll have to wait and see what the other drivers set. And unfortunately, it is only good enough for P16. At the end of the day though, like I said, it doesn't matter. No matter what we did, we were starting right down at the back of the field. I think it worked out that we had about 65 place grid penalties at the end of the day, so definitely going to be starting right down at the back of the field for today's race. But P16 on super soft tyres, not too far away from the likes of Danny Kvyat and the guys ahead of me. It's just a case of what I could have done on the ultra soft tyres. I reckon I could have got into Q3 here today, and this sets us up really nicely for the race. We're going to be quick. We get a fresh set of tyres. We get a fresh choice of tyres as well going into the race, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we can do a good job in that one. But that's it for the qualifying session. What can we do in today's race?
It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Before we get into today's race, though, let's take a look at the starting grid for the Belgian Grand Prix. It is Lewis Hamilton who lines up in pole position for today's race, with Kimi Räikkönen in second, then Sebastian Vettel third, and Valtteri Bottas in P4. Daniel Ricciardo lines up in fifth, with Massa in sixth, then it's Max Verstappen in seventh, with Romain Grosjean eighth, Lance Stroll in ninth, with Sergio Perez in 10th, with Nico Hülkenberg 11th, and Danny Kvyat in 12th. Esteban Ocon is in 13th, with Carlos Sainz 14th, Alonso in 15th, Ericsson 16th, Verline 17th, Stoffel Van Dorn 18th. There's myself and Kevin Magnussen right at the back of the field, thanks to penalties. So Kevin Magnussen in P19 and myself in 20th. Unfortunately, the race isn't exactly going to plan. I was hoping it was going to be dry and I could really push on the dry tyres. Unfortunately, it is in the rain. And as you guys know, I don't particularly do that well in the wet conditions. We'll see what we can do anyway, but it is going to be very difficult here today, starting right down the back of the field to try and get some ground and get some more positions. But anything can happen, especially in these wet conditions. The AO drivers could make a few mistakes, and we can definitely pounce on that. There we go, really under-fueling the car for today's race, just to save the fuel and really save up the rear tyres, saving up ourselves from spinning up the rear tyres in today's race. But let's get the race underway now as the lights are coming on. We go to 5 red lights for the Belgian Grand Prix. It is lights out and away we go, and it's not the best of starts there on these wet tyres, taking it nice and cautiously down in towards turn 1. At this point, no point getting involved on the other drivers because, yeah, don't really want to break my front wing, just like in the Hungarian Grand Prix. We don't want to break our front wing, and we don't really want to, you know, lose the race in turn 1. But now we're going to start to pounce. Here we go, on the back of Stoffel Van Dorn. We're nowhere quicker than the McLaren driver in a straight line, moving over to left-hand side. So we go through our rouge. It's side by side between myself and Stoffel Van Dorn. He sort of forces me out wide. There was a little bit of contact between the two of us. Unfortunately, I couldn't get through the corner without cutting it, but the FIA not giving me a penalty or a warning at the end of the day for that, so I decided to carry on anyway in P19. Now seeing what we can do chasing down on the other drivers, but unfortunately running a little bit wide into the Lecom section at the moment, and really, you know, falling off the back of the rest of the pack, which is really unfortunate. It's not what I wanted to happen. Stoffel Van Dorn has had some great drive through the Lecom section, just showing that chassis, that really good chassis that the McLaren has, especially at this Belgian Grand Prix. And look, he's side by side with myself, going through Rivage into the corner with no name. He sticks it around the outside, but we force him out wide on the exit, and luckily just about managing to hold on to P9. Otherwise, that would have been really embarrassing to lose out to a McLaren Honda at a circuit which has quite a lot of long straights. We need to make sure now that we get a bit of a gap, though, to Stoffel Van Dorn's. We're now watching a battle for second place in today's race between Kimi Räikkönen and his teammate Sebastian Vettel just ahead of him. How many times are we going to see these two drivers go wheel to wheel in today's races? Kimi Räikkönen looks to go for the overtake on Sebastian Vettel, moves over to the right-hand side, coming into the Lecom section, and it's going to be side by side between the two Ferrari men. It's side by side as well between Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen behind him. Can Valtteri Bottas get the job done on the Red Bull driver? They're going to go side by side. Looks like Bottas has got the job done coming in towards Rivage. Kimi Räikkönen not yet got the job done on his teammate in towards Rivage, but I think he's got the job done now, coming into the corner with no name. Yes, he has, and Kimi Räikkönen now moves up into second place for this Belgian Grand Prix, with Sebastian Vettel having to settle for P3 at the moment. And now Valtteri Bottas going on the attack of Sebastian Vettel now for that third position. Can the Mercedes driver get the job done on Sebastian Vettel? Here he goes down in towards the Kemmel straight there, in towards the Lecom section, and it looks like Valtteri Bottas is going to be a fairly simple move up the inside into the first part. Little bit of contact there between the two drivers. Wheel to side pod between Valtteri Bottas and Sebastian Vettel in towards the rundown now to Rivage, side by side with Bottas and Sebastian Vettel, with Max Verstappen looking maybe to go for an overtake down in towards Rivage. He can't quite get the job done, unfortunately, there for the Red Bull driver, but Valtteri Bottas at the moment holding off Sebastian Vettel, moves up in towards P3, and it's actually Daniel Ricciardo who's currently in P5 at the moment. Sorry about that, it's not Max Verstappen, it's currently Daniel Ricciardo in today's race. But Lewis Hamilton now going through the corner with no name. He is dominating this Belgian Grand Prix at the moment, but there is, I don't know whether that is spray or whether that is smoke coming off the back of that Mercedes car. There seems like quite a lot of spray that it could actually be smoke in today's race. We'll look into that further as the race goes on, but the Mercedes driver is so dominant. Maybe, just maybe, he's pushing that Mercedes engine just a little bit too much in today's race, and he's actually pulling over to the side of the road. Lewis Hamilton, who is leading by such a long way, is out. of today's race. That puts Kimi Räikkönen now into the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel now hunting down Valtteri Bottas for his now second place, as Lewis Hamilton, unfortunately, is out of the Belgian Grand Prix. Here goes Sebastian Vettel on the back of Valtteri Bottas, and once again, we're going to see the two drivers go side by side into the Lecombe section, side by side between the two of them. Maybe a little bit of contact there through the second corner, but in towards the third one, it looks like Vettel has got his nose ahead, but Valtteri Bottas coming back around the outside in towards Rivage. Can he get the job done as Daniel Ricciardo looks eagerly behind both of these drivers, looking maybe to pick up the pieces, but Vettel regains that position once again, moves up into second place and stays ahead of Valtteri Bottas this time around. Great racing at the moment in this Belgian Grand Prix, even though we may have done absolutely nothing in today's race so far. Luckily, there are some good battles up and down the field, mainly as well between the leaders of today's race. But finally, here on lap 8 of the Belgian Grand Prix, we're actually going to do something. Right on the back now of Marcus Ericsson. It's taken us a long time to catch up to the Sauber driver, but we're going to give it a good old go now, down in towards the source. You know, braking a little bit later than Marcus Ericsson, taking a nice exit. Maybe we might be able to get the run down in towards the Kemmel Straight, but we may even do it down towards El Rouge. Here we are on the back of Marcus Ericsson. It's going to be side by side between myself and the Sauber driver in towards El Rouge. Side by side, still hanging around the outside there of Marcus Ericsson. Fantastic overtake there on the Sauber driver to move up into what may only be P17 for today's race, but still, if that is for pride, that is an absolutely amazing way to do it. Great overtake at the end of the day on Marcus Ericsson. Unfortunately for him, he is not able to get the job done and re-overtake me for this 17th position. And for now, he's just going to have to settle for P18. But let's have a look again of that replay of that amazing overtake in towards El Rouge. So side by side between myself and Ericsson, and for a moment he did actually get the better of me into the second part, but in towards Radeon, and there we go, getting the job done and holding on to this position. Great maneuver there from myself. Now cutting ahead to the end of lap 8 of today's race. Nico Hülkenberg actually into the pits, and he's the only driver in the whole entire field at the moment who looks to be doing a two-stop strategy. I'm definitely going to hold off for the one-stop strategy. Even though the team wanted me to do a two-stop strategy, I'm definitely going to go for the one-stop. I feel like the one-stop is the best way to go. Hold off till lap 11 and just sort of see what we can do in today's race. We're now watching on board with Carlos Sainz, who has had a really unfortunate season so far. So many DNFs. And in fact, actually was leading the Hungarian Grand Prix last time around and had a DNF. And there's a yellow flag as well. Please, no. No. Carlos Sainz, again, having a mechanical failure on that Toro Rosso car. When is he going to catch a break? The virtual safety car has been deployed. We ran a little bit too deep there in towards the source. Nico Hülkenberg does overtake us. We sort of gave him that position as well. I'm not too sure whether he's going to have a penalty for that, because he did technically overtake under yellows and the virtual safety cars. So we just have to wait and see whether he gets a penalty or not. But now cutting ahead to lap 12. There's no real drivers behind me, so I'm guessing I'm going to be coming into the pits now in today's race. Yes, we are coming into the pits here in the Belgian Grand Prix and just, you know, banging our rear left tyre against the wall. Very tight entrance into the pit lane, especially with these wider 2017 spec cars. But at the moment, pitting from P16 for today's race, now dropping down into 17th as Pascal Wehrlein, who pitted a little bit earlier on in today's race, overtakes me. Or that might have been Stoffel van Dorn. I'm not entirely sure. But at the moment, still holding on to this position ahead of Marcus Ericsson. Have we got the job done? Yes, we have. The team with a 2.6 second stop. Really good pit stop there from the Renault team, sorry. And we do stay ahead of Marcus Ericsson in today's race, holding on to what is at the moment P17, but hopefully we move up maybe into P16 after the other drivers sort themselves out in today's race with a pit stop phase. And here we are, lap 15 at the moment. We're now hunting down Pascal Wehrlein for what is in fact 15th position in today's race. So can we overtake now the Sauber drivers? We run down in towards the El Rouge section. Here we go, through the left, then the right, then back through the left of Radeon. And look how much speed that we have compared to Pascal Wehrlein, moving over to the left-hand side. Very simple overtake at the end of the day, up into P15, and maybe we're starting to see a little bit more pace from myself in the Belgian Grand Prix. Okay, it might be too little too late here on lap 15, but there are still, you know, 7 laps left to go in this race. There is still a chance maybe to get a few drivers, and if we can get P13, which is the team's target for today, then that would still be a really decent job, as we're now right behind Nico Hülkenberg after he's made his second pit stop in today's race. So what can we do on my teammate? We're a bit quicker now in today's race, and here we go down in towards the Eau section, right on the tail of Nico Hülkenberg, not able to get the job done through the El Rouge section, through Raidillon. Unfortunately, you have to lift off quite a bit there to avoid going into the back of my teammate. But now here on the Kemmel Straight, can we get the job done in towards Le Com section? It's going to really be side by side. We'll be able to dive up the inside. Unfortunately, not brave enough on the brakes, so not close enough in the slipstream to go ahead of our teammate there. And unfortunately, Nico Hülkenberg is going to get the better of us today and hold on to that P14. But now we're watching on board with Fernando Alonso here on lap 19 of the Belgian Grand Prix. Not long left to go, as he's in fact following a Williams in today's race. So it's a great race at the moment there for Fernando Alonso, but the yellow flag's out. Alonso going slowly in today's race. Another driver. When will Alonso catch a break in this season as well? It looks like the two Spaniards are really hit with reliability issues. There's a front right puncher there for Fernando Alonso. Literally nothing he has done. He didn't run into the back of anybody, didn't run over any debris, and unfortunately the front right has given up on him in today's race, and Pascal Wehrlein goes straight into the back of Alonso in today's race. Disaster there for the Sauber driver. Ericsson gets through fine, and Stoffel Van Dorn as well just goes straight into his teammate. Van Dorn, what on earth are you doing? The yellow flags are out. You should be slowing down, and you should be able to see exactly where your teammate is going through that corner. I don't know how he has done it. I mean, that car is bright orange. I don't know how you cannot see that McLaren in today's race. Honestly, Van Dorn, what on earth are you doing? We're going to have a look at a replay now of what exactly happened to Stoffel Van Dorn, currently running in P18. You can see Alonso going slowly ahead of him. He doesn't really lift off for the yellows, goes straight into the back of his teammate, and he's going to be needing a new front wing for today's race, which is really unfortunate there for Stoffel Van Dorn. Here's a replay now of Pascal Wehrlein, who's way down in 17th position for today's race. I think, yes, he does. He just goes straight into the back of Fernando Alonso as well, and unfortunately for him, he is going to be way down the field too, needing a new front wing as well. So really disappointing for both the Sauber and the McLaren drivers. And here we are on the final lap of today's race, watching this battle for 4th position in today's race. Valtteri Bottas hunting down Max Verstappen. Valtteri Bottas, actually another driver going for that two-stop strategy. That is why he is now behind both Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen. I didn't miss the overtakes. He just took an extra pit stop in today's race. So he's trying to work his way back through the field. He's right behind Max Verstappen at the moment in today's race. So what can he do down in towards the El Rouge, Kemmel Straight and Le Com section? Can he get the job done on Max Verstappen in today's race and move up into that 4th position? Of course, it's going to be great points for the team, especially with one of their drivers out and the two Ferraris currently running in a solid 1-2. So Valtteri Bottas needs to go for this overtake right now on Max Verstappen. He goes up the inside into the Le Com section. It's side by side between the two of them. Max Verstappen just about managing to hold off Valtteri Bottas at this stage of the race. The hand went up in frustration through the Le Com section. There must have been contact between the two of them, but down towards Rivage, it looks like Verstappen has got the outside line, and usually that outside line does not work. It doesn't here today, and Valtteri Bottas moves up into P4 for this Belgian Grand Prix. Great job there for the Finnish driver to move up into P4, especially as Mercedes need a result here today. But the two Ferrari drivers, there's nothing to separate them here on the final lap of the Belgian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel hunting down his teammate of Kimi Räikkönen in towards Blanchimont. Can he get the job done on the final lap? How many times this season as well have we seen the lead for the race being battled for on the final lap? Here we go in towards the bus stop chicane. The final corner, Kimi Räikkönen locks up. Vettel goes around the outside. Can he get the job done? I don't think he can. And Kimi Räikkönen is going to win the Belgian Grand Prix at the end of the day, just about beating his Ferrari teammate of Sebastian Vettel. But Kimi Räikkönen is the race winner here today. He inherited the lead after Lewis Hamilton had that engine failure here today, but it was so close between both the two Ferrari men. Kimi Räikkönen wins today's race with Vettel in second, Ricciardo completing that podium in P3. We are way off the pace though in this Belgian Grand Prix. It's been a very, very disappointing one for myself, as Valtteri Bottas finishes today's race in P4 and Max Verstappen finishes just behind him in 5th position at the moment. But like I say, really disappointing race from myself, and we do need to pick it up over the rest of the season. We head to Italy next, which hopefully will be a good track for us. No penalties going into that race as well. So hopefully we can get a good result. Sergio Perez finishes in P16. Great result there for the Force India drive. Both Force India drivers, with Ocon finishing in P7 as well. That is not good news for us in the championship, because of course we are battling with both Perez and Ocon. We are also battling with the Force India team in the constructors, and neither Renault driver is in the points position here. So Kvyat finishing in 8th, Romain Grosjean 9th, and Felipe Massa picking up that final point today, with Kevin Magnussen just missing out in P11, Lance Stroll in 12th, and Nico Hülkenberg there finishing in P13. But in towards the bus stop chicane now, the final corner for today's Belgian Grand Prix. It's not really been the best of one, but from P20 at the end of the day to finish in P14, made a couple of good overtakes, but it was a fantastic race from the leaders nonetheless. A really interesting Belgian Grand Prix here today. Nothing really that I had anything to do with it. It was all just a case of the AI drivers having some fantastic battles in today's race. That run from La Source all the way to the Lecombe section, even in towards Rivage and the corner with no name. We saw battles galore between the AI drivers, and it was very, very close at the end of the day between Kimi Räikkönen and Sebastian Vettel. But Kimi Räikkönen gets the job done on his Ferrari teammate. He wins today's race, and Sebastian Vettel finishes in 2nd. Daniel Ricciardo finishes in 3rd, with Valtteri Bottas 4th. Then it's Max Verstappen in 5th, and Sergio Perez finishes in 6th, with Esteban Ocon 7th, Danny Kvyat 8th, Romain Grosjean 9th, and Felipe Massa getting the final championship point here today, with Kevin Magnussen finishing in P11, Lance Stroll in 12th, and Nico Hülkenberg, my teammate, finishing in 13th place. Then it was unfortunately myself way down in P14. We would have preferred a better result here at a circuit which I just adore so much. Unfortunately, it's really disappointing to finish down in P14 for today's race, but we're going to get so many more chances across the rest of this career mode to get a better result. Hopefully next season in a better car we can maybe get into the top 5 in this Belgian Grand Prix. But Marcus Ericsson, he finishes in P15 with Pascal Wehrlein 16th, then Stoffel Van Dorn 17th, Fernando Alonso in 18th for the end of the day, with Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton, the 2 drivers to not finish. Now taking a look at the Drivers' Championship after 12 rounds of this season. We've unfortunately dropped down into P8, but it's very, very close between us 3 drivers. You've got Perez on 59 points, myself and Esteban Ocon on 58 points, and Felipe Massa, he's not really that far behind either on 46. So very close at the moment, I suppose, between us 4 drivers. But we need to have a really good result next time around at the Italian Grand Prix in order just to get ahead a little bit more of Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon. So fingers crossed we can do that. Kimi Räikkönen overtakes Lewis Hamilton once again in the Drivers' Championship, but it's now only 26 points the gap between Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Räikkönen right now. So Kimi Räikkönen maybe might have a chance of catching up to Sebastian Vettel for the championship this season. Lewis Hamilton, it looks like his championship hopes are slipping away from him, just like Valtteri Bottas. I think Bottas is way out of the title hunt right now, but there are still a long way left to go. I think there's 8 races left to go in this season, so a lot can happen. Finally, though, we take a look at the Constructors' standings. We're still in P5, but we are losing quite a lot of ground there to the Force India team. They got a P6 and 7 at today's race. So really unfortunate to lose out so much ground on both the Force India drivers. We do need to sort of catch up to those guys and maybe start to get some good results. Hopefully we can do it at Italy, maybe Singapore as well. And of course, then we head to Japan and Malaysia. So hopefully we can get some really good results out of those races. But that's it for today's Belgian Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so for daily Formula 1 content. And don't forget to share this video with your friends. And also leave a comment down below what exactly your thoughts were on the race. But until the next time at the Italian Grand Prix, is goodbye from me.